are the three levels of democracy and where do we currently stand as a nation? What is a solution and where do we go from here? I first want to start off by saying this. Mass media is always going to over dramatize and exaggerate information for the sake of clicks and likes. This is not what we're doing here. Our nation is experiencing difficult times, yes, but if there is one thing that we have seen repeated throughout history is that the union always survives. We are very much aware of the challenges facing our country, and we are going to intuitively dissect where we are in order to best find the solution that paints the vision for the future hope of America. So welcome back to the Kaitlin Brown Show. Let's talk about this word, democracy. If you didn't know, it is a Greek word derived from two separate words, demo meaning people and cracy meaning rule. The people rule. Now, there are three layers to democracy, and I'm going to explain where we are now. So you first have participatory democracy, emphasizes the broad participation of people in politics. This to me is the healthiest form of democracy because you're getting mass participation from the nation. For example, if there's a small town and they're voting on whether they want a light post or a new condominium for senior citizens to be built on a nature preserve, right? All these different things, and you have 80% of the town to come out and vote. That is an example of participatory democracy. You have the majority voting towards this decision. Then you have pluralist democracy, which is a combination of different ideologies of what democracy actually is. There is lots of opposing views in Congress, and there are lobbyists and PACs involved in influencing certain Congress members' decisions. This not only removes the initial creation of Congress to be a voice for the people, because that's what their job is, that is what we elect them to do, is to be a voice for the people, for our district, right? But it also dilutes the unification of Congress, right? When you take out the mission and the vision of what Congress is supposed to be doing, and now they're getting influenced by lobbyists or by PACs or being offered money in order to make certain decisions or to cast a specific vote, now you're relinquishing what is for the American people and you're taking that away from them. So this is kind of what pluralist democracy is. And this is a deeper, kind of more definition example of what it says. It says it is a model of democracy in which no single group dominates politics and organized groups compete with each other to influence policy. You see how it's talking about groups? Now let's go a little bit deeper because groups can mean many different things, right? We see examples of pluralist democracy at both the state level and the federal level. As in participatory democracy, anyone can participate in influencing political decisions. But in pluralist democracy, individuals work through groups formed around common causes. As in participatory democracy, anyone can participate in influencing political decisions. But in pluralist democracy, individuals work through groups formed around common causes. Okay? Then you have elite democracy. This, to me, is probably the worst form of democracy. This is just my personal opinion. Once I kind of break everything down, you guys can kind of say in the comments like where you guys think we're at and what should be the focal point. Obviously, I believe that participatory democracy is the best, not just because I think that it's very equal or fair, but that I believe that when you have a nation who is truly involved in the decision making of policies and laws being put in place, now you have the American voice being the strongest voice in the nation in regards to our laws and our policies that are being established. Okay. So with elite democracy, here we have an elite group of people looking to make decisions that benefit a very small group of people with power, influence, and money. This is a very small group that does the actual decision making for the American people. And in some cases, an oligarchy, which is a political power concentrated around a small central group. Okay, so this is more of a general example of elite democracy today, but I think that this can help you guys understand more or less what it actually is, okay? We can see the influence of elite democracy today in the structure of the Electoral College. Although the people's popular vote elect a presidential candidate, the Electoral College serves as a check on the potential tyranny of the majority. In U.S. history, there have only been 3 presidential elections in which the people popularly elected one candidate for president, but the other candidate won the Electoral College and therefore the presidency. I mean, this is pretty pretty simple. You guys see the way that we have our presidential elections every 4 years and how the electoral college works. Obviously, with some states, the numbers are higher, like the state of Florida, I believe is 25. California is big. New York is big. You got to get those big states. And then you have some states that are smaller numbers in the electoral college, okay? So they may win the popular vote as a presidential elect, but if they didn't win the electoral college vote, then they don't win the presidency, okay? And I feel like right now we're somewhere in between a pluralist democracy and an elite democracy. And in order to dilute that, we need to increase the percentage of participatory democracy. And how does that happen? By more Americans being involved in voting. We need to find the people that represent the American voice the best, okay? And the only way that we're going to do this is through participation, because when more people ignore politics and just despise it and don't want to be a part of it and choose not to vote, you are pushing our democracy into a pluralist, into an elite democracy, because the less people we have involved, the less voices we have involved, and now the more influence those who carry with power, titles, influence or money have to make those decisions, okay? If you guys didn't already know, these dimensions of democracy were vigorously debated by our founding fathers when they thought about whether to ratify the Constitution. When the United States was founded, the founders created a democratic republic, a system of government in which the power to govern comes from the people, but elected officials represent their interests. This system of government allows American citizens to participate in government in many ways. How do we do that? We, the people, speak up as the strongest voice in the nation. We take action in our local communities, churches, and workplaces. Because big change doesn't happen overnight. It takes an army of people who want to fight for a better tomorrow and a better future for this nation. So let's review this concept all together. Okay, democracy has 3 levels. We have participatory democracy, pluralist democracy, and elite democracy. Okay, right now, I personally feel like we are sitting in between a pluralist and elite level democracy, but we can't just sit here and complain and say that that's the politician's fault and that's the leader's fault, because it's also the people who decided to give up on the nation, to not vote, to not participate, to not get involved in their communities, to not get involved in their churches. And it takes one step at a time. It doesn't take one person. One person is not going to change the world. One vision, one mission, and a lot of people who decided to stand up and stand out and fight for what it is that they believe is best for the future of this nation. That is what is going to take to see ratification and change inside of our nation. I really hope that this provided some value for you and understanding. And my hope for America is that I continue to see more Americans stand up to build and put America first. We have a future we need to fight for. We have a future generation that we need to fight for. And the children now and the children to come are the generations that are going to reap the results of the decisions that we are making today. So my question to you is, what are you going to do today to help America move forward in the best way? Let's not be challenge focused. Let's be solution focused. What can we do today to make a difference? So guys, thank you so much for joining me here on the Kaitlin Brown Show. You guys can catch a new video every single Thursday. Go ahead, check out my channel, check out the shorts, like and subscribe. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear in the comment sections what you guys would like to hear me talk about. Last week I did a video on what Build America First is and the 10 things that we believe in. Also a bill that one day I hope to see move into action. And maybe right now it's just words, but words bring forth life. And I believe that that is what we are going to see here. So thank you guys so much. Make sure to like and subscribe to this video. Share it with somebody that you know who is looking for the future hope of America. And I hope to see you guys here next Thursday on the Kaitlin Brown Show. Bye guys.